surrender, the word surrender, is pregnant with meaning. How can one explain what surrender really is? Well, surrender is about letting go of attachment to the ego, the little self that idolizes money and power, so that we can create space for divinity to become the center of our life. You can say it's about whose approval am I seeking? That of my ego or of my higher self? Right now, for example, as we're doing this video, am I doing this video out of an egoistic sense to impress you, or from my higher self because I truly, sincerely, and humbly want to share a message? Maybe it's better I invoke some poetry to explain the essence of surrender. The 14th century sage Hafiz, if I remember, he says, let's keep all spiritual talk simple today. God is trying to sell you something, but you refuse to buy. And this refusal to buy is your suffering, your fantastic haggling, your manic screaming over the price. So that's one poetry. The other one by Hafiz also, I remember. It's a poem where Hafiz explains the difference, say, between me and a sage who has surrendered. So Hafiz says, life is like a sublime chess game. And the beloved, God has just made such a fantastic move that the sage is tripping over with joy and exclaiming, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. But you, Jamal, you think you have 100 more moves to make. The 13th century sage Rumi, he explains that surrender is really about a divine exchange, exchanging the ego will for divine will. And he has his poetry, for God's sake, sell and buy at once. Where will you find a market like this? For one little breath, the divine breath. For one little rose, the entire rose garden. Where will you find a customer like God who pays in gold, who accepts your counterfeit coins, who buys your dirty, shabby bag of goods and in return gives a spiritual spring so delicious that even sugar is jealous of its sweetness? So may we, in our lives, start the process of surrender, of letting go of attachment to the ego and bringing divinity in the center of our lives. It's a lifelong process.